Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today as we discuss about business programs at Eastern Michigan University. This is Bhumi here. I work as a college counselor for Gen Next Education. I have with us my colleagues Ati and Ben from North America and Palak and Chandra from our India team. At Gen Next, we truly believe that our students deserve to explore global education opportunities, and hence we provide free comprehensive counseling support to all our students, and we support their parents and high school communities as well through different endeavors. Launching this webinar series is one of those endeavors, and we are truly grateful that we have esteemed university partners who agreed with us uh, to be with us today and share their experience, success stories with the students. Today, we are featuring Eastern Michigan University, which is a public research university and has a beautiful campus in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I'm really happy to introduce Ms. Jamishak, who works closely with international students as an international enrollment engagement specialist, and Dr. Vivek, who is a professor at College of Business. So before I pass over the mic to them, I would request you all to keep your microphone muted, and it's not everyday students that we have insiders from the universities. So let's make the best out of this session. If you have any questions, you do see a Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen. So make sure that you post your questions over there. Don't hold yourself back, and let's make this interactive session. I would now request Jamie to take us through the session. Over to you, Jamie.
Thank you, Bhumi, for the introduction. As Bhumi mentioned, my name is Jamie Shuck, and I am the Enrollment Advising Specialist for International Admissions. And I have with me today Dr. Shiri Vivek, who is a Professor of Marketing and Supply Chain Management. So quickly, I'll go through an overview of what we would like to discuss with you today. I'll do an introduction to Eastern Michigan University as a whole. I'll let Dr. Vivek introduce herself and a little bit about her background. And the two of us together will go through an overview of the College of Business, getting into more details about the curriculum and what the university and the College of Business represents. And then I will briefly go over the application process and some information about cost and scholarships. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A session where we will answer your questions. But feel free to type in your questions at any time as you think of them so that you don't forget them at the end, and we can address any concerns that you have. And then we'll have some student resources and important links for you at the end. And this session will be provided to you, the presentation and everything, so don't feel like you have to write everything down, but we'll hope to go through everything that's listed here. So why choose EMU? So Eastern is located in Ypsilanti, Michigan. So Michigan's in the northern part of the United States. We have cold, chilly winters and warm, beautiful summers. We're about 20 minutes from the Detroit International Airport. It's about 40 minutes from the actual city of Detroit and about 4 to 5 hours from Chicago. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we're located. Our community is made up of international students from over 80 different countries. Indian students actually make up a majority of our international students on campus. We also have an international student association. If you become involved in this, you can connect with the students from all over the world, but they also host events in which domestic students attend. So it's a good way to connect with students all over campus. Our Office for International Students and Scholars is there to support you once you arrive to campus. They help with advising and maintaining your immigration status, so it's important to make friends with them. They also host different activities such as coffee hours and conversation partner programs where you can meet up with the domestic students and practice English or just make new friends on campus. We have a variety of different on-campus housing opportunities. and we have over 200 programs, undergraduate programs to choose from. So while we'll be discussing the business college in particular during this presentation, we do have over 200 programs on campus to choose from. So if you're not particularly interested in business, we do have music, dance, technology, a ton of different programs. But like I said, we'll focus on business here today. So Dr. Vivek, would you want to do a brief introduction?
Thank you, Jamie. Good evening, everyone. I believe you're just happy in the lockdown. Happy. But yeah, it's getting over, so it's great. We're just getting close to opening up again. And I'm talking about India here. So yeah, you've had a better run than US has had. So just feel positive about it. I'm a professor of marketing and supply chain at Eastern. I have been at Eastern since 2009. That's when I joined Eastern. Before that, I have worked at IIT Roorkee, and I did my education from, 15 years in India, different places, JNV University, Jodhpur, IIT Roorkee, IILM, and I've been guest faculty at a lot of places in India. I did most of my education in India, except my PhD from US. I did one PhD from IIT Delhi, and I did my MBA from Udaipur. So know India pretty well. Have had an international education experience, international teaching experience too. So kind of understand where you're coming from. I had the same concerns that you might have right now. So this is about me. I've been here since 2009. One thing I do want to say, I am also the chair of the Global Engagement Council here at Eastern. There is a lot of activity. Jamie gave you a quick list because of the time of what all associations we have here and what all activities we have here. But I can go a bit deeper down if you want, if you have any questions about it. The associations are pretty active. Students mingle with just the students from their own country. So we have country-specific student associations, and then we have an international association which brings all of these associations together. Pretty much every month, we have something or the other going on. So students connect with themselves, amongst themselves, and with the faculty, with administrators, with outside community. There's lots of opportunities to do that. In fact, no matter how much you do, we just keep pushing you to do more here because it's fun. You all get to meet each other, you build networks, and these networks kind of remain forever, because these are the deepest networks, I guess, which you're going to build up. So yes, Global Engagement Council is focused on making the environment for you better here, continuously figuring out your issues or any progress you would like to make in any area. So I'm particularly connected with international students that way.
Okay, great, thank you. So on this slide, we've included the mission statement of the College of Business, some of their core values. Rather than read them all to you, I will just take a few commonalities that are listed throughout. So you see over and over again that we're focused on a global community or focused on supporting a global society. I think it's important to note that the studies in the College of Business are going to be applicable whether you're in Michigan or India or anywhere all over the globe. Additionally, it's mentioned over and over that we are focused on real world value and hands-on experiences. And I'm sure Dr. Vivek can explain this a little bit further, but we want you to be able to have internship opportunities, potential research opportunities, so you're involved in more ways than just your classroom studies. Did you have anything to add, Shiri, or should I continue on?
No, I think you've addressed everything. Let's focus on any questions students have, and
Sure.
then we can address other things.
So I also just wanted to briefly mention some of the recognition our College of Business at Eastern Michigan University has received. We are accredited by the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business, and about 30% of the schools in the nation, of the College of Businesses in the nation, are accredited by this institution. We also have received the Best Business School rank with the Princeton Review for the 16th consecutive year, I'm sorry, not the best. And then we're also involved with the SAP University Alliances, which allows students to further their networking opportunities and get involved with building technology or learning new software information.
Jamie, can I add one more thing about the SAP University Alliance here?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the SAP University Alliance is basically, SAP is the platform that every single business, I would say 95% plus businesses in the world use SAP as the platform to do any kind of work that they do. And by being a part of the SAP University Alliance, we basically are providing students that platform right when they are students, and not just in technology courses, but in supply chain courses. In fact, in my retailing course next semester, I am going to be using the SAP University Alliance, SAP, wherein the students are going to actually run a retail store. So when they go to work, and if they start working in a retailing company, they are basically just not going to be uncomfortable with the platform that they get because they've already used it here. So that is the idea of being part of SAP University Alliance, and also kind of talks about the core of our College of Business, which is application. You should be ready for a business, or you should be ready for a job when you get out of here. So a lot of practical experience that you get here.
Absolutely. So on this page, we've listed the undergraduate programs that are available in our College of Business. I know we've conducted a poll. I'm not sure if anyone has responded quite yet, but Dr. Vivek, would you like to go into more detail about a few of these programs?
Okay, so one thing that I want to bring your attention to here is that you see the star right here, Accounting Information Systems, for instance. It's a combined bachelor and master degree program, and my daughter did the program from here, so I know a little more about accounting, though I am not from there. It saves you a lot of time in terms of moving towards your CA equivalent in the US, which is called CPA. It's a great program because there is top 4 of the accounting firms who come to select students from here. We have so my daughter works in Ernst & Young, and she was selected from campus to work in Ernst & Young, which is one of the top 4 firms in accounting in the world. So it's a great program, very well respected program. Accounting has just started a taxation program too. Bit different from taxation in rest of the world, so it just kind of prepares you to taxation a lot more here. The next one is entrepreneurship. An entrepreneurship program prepares you to start your own business. I believe a lot of parts of the world are focusing on making people self-sufficient to start their own businesses, and this entrepreneurship program actually connects you with other entrepreneurs all over the region, and sometimes international too. So you actually see and you actually work with them while you're in the program. The general business program gives you an opportunity to actually, take some time to decide what major you want. So you don't have to decide the major right now, and trust me, a lot of students change it. Once you come here, you first study all of these, the list that you're seeing here. And if you want to change your major right now, you might be thinking of marketing, and then you come here and you probably just think, oh, you know what, I was actually thinking of supply chain, or I was actually thinking of management. And you can always do that. We can give you that opportunity here. And that I believe is great, not having to be forced to make a decision one way or the other. The marketing program within itself has several majors. You can do the major in IMC, which is Integrated Marketing Communication. You get digital marketing, you can do marketing strategy, you can do retailing. So you can create a major that speaks most to you. Because marketing, again, has two aspects. It has the aspect of making bigger strategies. It has the aspect of advertising, which is part of the IMC program. And it has the aspect of understanding the consumer. So we have majors which address all of these different arenas. The supply chain program is especially very good here because we are in the backyard of the largest auto companies in the world, the largest 3 auto companies in the world. They are like half an hour away from us. That's where the whole auto industry started. And so supply chain program gets the benefit of this by having a lot of industry exposure. Faculty keeps developing new courses because supply chain program is moving very fast. Our supply chain program also connects with all kinds of changes that are happening in supply chains nowadays. You know, you're sitting at home and outside everything is working, you're still getting stuff. So how are you getting that? You know, how is it possible? If there are any shortages, you know, shortage of toilet paper in the US was like a big news for the whole time. Why has that happened? What has gone wrong? So those are the things that you study in supply chains. You know, how do you make products available? How do you make materials available? When you need them, where you need them, and if that does not happen, why that does not happen, and how does that affect the pricing? So the auto companies that we have around here, they really provide a lot of internships, and that makes this option a lot more viable option, and also an option wherein you are going to be work ready the moment you get into the industry. Thank you, Jamie.
Yep. So did you want to go into more detail about the comparisons between India and the US?
Sure. So class sizes. I used to be teaching about, so I taught at IILM and IIT Roorkee both. IILM is the Institute for Integrated Learning and Management in Delhi. It's one of the top 15 institutions, I believe, at this point. The big difference that I see between teaching in India and teaching here, and also compared to other universities here in the US, our class sizes are mostly limited to 30. It's not 60, 100, 200, and 300, which is what 100, 200, and 300 is what research institutions have here, a lot of other universities, wherein students cannot directly connect with the professor. Our core is to have small class sizes so that you are in direct connection with the professor. Professors are available to you. You can, if you don't understand something, it's not like a research assistant is helping you. For the most part, you're going to be connected and in direct touch with the professor for anything that you need. And that's something that I have seen most of the students, international students, coming here and liking as an aspect, because you are in a new country, and ability to connect with 30 people and a person who can guide you through the process or be there when you have questions. It really makes a difference to a lot of students. So I would emphasize the class size aspect. The second aspect is the flexibility. So like I said, and I've kind of partially already addressed that, you start with thinking, okay, I am going to go in marketing. The first year allows you to get some kind of a sneak peek into all of the different possible options that you have available. And this is, again, unlike in India. In India, you choose an area and then you just you go through that whole area. You know, there is no return road here in India, but here you would have the year to decide. And even after you have decided, if you feel like, oh no, that's not my field, I want to create like a combined major with something else, you would be able to do that, because you pick and choose courses. It's not like you're in a batch and you have to do this set of course every semester. You can pick and choose your courses. There's a lot of flexibility in terms of, okay, I'm doing retailing and I would like to do database analysis along with that, right? So this semester I'll do this combination because of whatever your reason be. And you can pick and choose that combination. Or you can say, okay, I was doing marketing, but now I want to have a minor in international business too. So you can just have like a minor in international business, or you can have double majors by adding some more courses to the minimum requirement that we have here. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of how you want to build your experience, how you want to build your degree, how you want to build a bundle of the knowledge that you have. And that's something I really found exciting when I came here. So I'm not stuck into a box once I have picked the box without knowing what is in the box. So, you know, you have the time to look into the box. You have the time to pick the box. And then after picking the box, if you have like, you feel like it's not the best, you can still make changes there. Application-oriented education, again, sorry, Jamie, I think I covered a lot of it before.
No, that's okay.
Every course, every subject, every major that we teach here, there is some required hours of practical experience that you have. And I know that you have summer internships in India too. This is a little unlike the summer internships because you do projects in the class. You don't have to go out and look for it. You do projects in the class wherein you are working with an industry. So to give you a quick example, I have a marketing strategy class, and in the marketing strategy class, right in the beginning of the class, one of the industry person is going to come in with their real problem. They explain the problem that they have, and then throughout the semester, as you're doing the conceptual understanding, you are also trying to build a solution to that problem. And then in the end of the semester, you actually in groups present that solution to the industry partner or the executive who's been in touch with you throughout the semester. So the rubber actually meets the road here. We just don't read out of books. We actually apply as we read out of the books, and it's not atypical of my course, the one that I'm talking about. It is what mostly happens in most of the courses. You have to test your conceptual understanding in the real world. So you're not completely lost when you're going out and looking for work. And this also builds your resume as you do it, because when you are applying for jobs, the fact that you have some kind of practical experience really, really helps you find a job. Networking with businesses and executives, I guess I've covered that. So, you know.
Yeah, we can move on to the next slide.
Yep.
So I wanted to include a testimonial from one of my students that works with me in the International Admissions Office. Her name is Najd, and she's from Jordan. I know we may have some students on here from the Middle East as well. So I'm not going to read this all to you in the interest of time, but basically she backs up what Dr. Vivek has explained and how the classes that she's taking, not only she's gaining out knowledge, but she's gaining hands-on experience that she's going to be able to apply for both her short-term and her long-term goals. She ultimately wants to open up her own marketing and advertising company, I believe back at home in Jordan. And she's mentioning to me that she thinks the knowledge and the skills she's gaining will give her a well-rounded education and allow her to start in her field on the right foot. So just time, I won't spend too much time on the application process and the admission stuff, but I just wanted to give you the information. We require 6 components for the undergraduate application. We do require an online application. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to fill out. And we do have a fee waiver code here in the presentation for you, so you don't have to pay anything to apply. We require official transcripts from your high school or secondary school, and we make admissions decisions based on your 9th, 10th, and 11th grade marks. So if you're in the 12th grade now and you haven't received your final marks, that's okay. We can still make a decision based on 9th, 10th, and 11th. I know you may have questions about this in relation to COVID-19, so please type those in. I can address those as well. English proficiency, proof of English proficiency is required. So that's going to be like a TOEFL or an IELTS exam, and the scores we require are listed here. If you do take the SAT exam, we will take that instead. So we don't require both. International students have to submit one or the other. And then for F1 students looking to study in the United States, we do require a financial statement of responsibility. So that's a form you're going to fill out and provide proof of funding with a bank statement. You can usually fill this out with your parent or a sponsor. And then finally, we just require a copy of your passport. So if you have any specific questions, please feel free to type those out and I can answer those. And then another cool thing about Eastern Michigan University is that we offer a global tuition rate for all of our undergraduate students. So that means whether you're from Bangalore or you're from Detroit, Michigan, you're going to receive the same tuition rate. There's not going to be an additional charge for international students coming from outside of the US. And then on this slide, it outlines what the cost would be for one full year. And that includes not just tuition, but also your room and board, the books and supplies that you might need, and then health insurance. And so health insurance is required for all international students, but I wanted to give you an idea of about how much that would look like for one full year at Eastern. And then finally, I wanted to mention our Forward Graduation Scholarship that is available for international students. So it requires a 2.75 GPA or above, or the equivalent of that. And if you meet that requirement, you'll be eligible to opt in to the scholarship. For your first 2 years, you would cover the tuition fees. And for your last 2 years, Eastern would cover your tuition fees. So basically, you cut your tuition fees for the 4-year degree in half. You would be responsible for room and board for all 4 years, and you would be required to live on campus. But that's one of our scholarships that's especially intriguing for international students. So I think at this time we've gone through everything we have to tell you, and we'll start taking questions. If Bhumi can leave that for.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie and Dr. Vivek. It has been quite an insightful session. We have received a few questions from our students, which I'd like to go through, and if any of you two can address those questions. Some of these questions may have been addressed during the presentations, like what is the total tuition fee at the university? And yeah, so I think we have already covered this, but anything else do you want to add on this?
So tuition varies based on the number of credit hours. International students are required to have at least 12 credit hours to maintain full-time status. And I can just go back real quick. So the 10th, just under $11,000 US dollars, that's showing 24 credit hours. So the minimum requirement to maintain full-time status. And that's for the whole year. And so divide that by 2, that's what you would be paying for each semester.
Thank you. Another question is, do you have a program in economics, especially international economics?
I'll let Shiri take that
Hey,
one.
Jamie, I can answer that if you want.
Great.
Okay, so we do have an economics program, but the program is not in College of Business. It is outside of College of Business. It is in another college, which is College of Arts and Sciences. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of times I see a lot of economics students coming and taking some of my courses here. So yes, to answer your question, yes, there is an international economics program here. It's just not housed in the College of Business.
Thank you. There's a question, what is the difference in between accounting and finance? And I think the student needs to know about the difference in the type of career opportunities available after the accounting and finance majors.
Mm-hmm. So you have CAs, chartered accountants, and you have bankers, right? An accounting person is going to go in the field which is equivalent of the chartered accountants in India, or in rest of the world too. Most of the countries have CA, which is chartered accountants. If you do finance, you're going to go more in the banking kind of field, in financial institutions, which is basically, so the basic difference is you do expenses and you do recording relating to the expenses in a business. And that part, which is after the fact, is accounting, the recording part of it. The finance profession deals more with where the money comes from, how the money is used, things like that. So, like, which is what banks do in your life as an individual. So that is the difference between these two, and the degrees do focus on different areas. So if you want to study taxes, that's going to be more accounting. But if you want to study how to get loans or which loans are better than the others, that's going to be finance, right? Just one example, there's many different other things, but that's one example of the difference.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The another question is, what do you prefer, either SAT or ACT for the admission?
So we don't have a preference. Like I said, if you do a SAT exam or an ACT exam, that will fulfill the English proficiency requirement. So you wouldn't have to take an additional test such as the TOEFL or the IELTS, but I would not say there is a preference between the two. That would be your choice, what's available to you and what makes sense financially as well.
Thanks, Jenny. Next question we have again from an anonymous attendee is, what if I stay on campus? What if I don't stay on campus and I'm just taking the classes? So I think the student needs to stay, the student can opt out of the on-campus accommodation.
So the students have the opportunity to opt out of on-campus housing opportunities after their first year at Eastern. We do prefer that all for freshman students, so students coming for the first year, to stay on campus. That what I mentioned for that scholarship, that's a particular requirement for the forward graduation scholarship, that you stay on campus all 4 years. If you prefer not to opt into that scholarship, you do have the opportunity to live off campus with friends in an apartment or however you see fit after the first year of classes.
Great, thank you. The next question is, do you offer liberal arts as minors with business being major?
You want to take that, Jamie?
I'm sorry, what was?
Yeah, I can repeat that. Do you offer liberal arts as minors with business being major? I think the student wants to know if liberal arts can be taken as a minor with business major.
So you can definitely combine a liberal arts minor with a major. So once you arrive to campus, there's going to be a bunch of academic advisor who can assist you, especially in your first year, and if you're unsure of how you want to proceed with which degree you want to earn. So they'll work with you to determine which classes can go together and how you can earn your degree. There'll be different requirements for each of the minors and majors, but it's definitely a possibility for you to combine a liberal arts minor alongside a business major. So if you want to do something in arts or music, maybe dance or something alongside accounting, we don't judge. We want you to do what you're passionate about. So definitely a possibility for you.
So I want to add something here, Jamie. You just reminded me. Another difference is you get an advisor here once you come here, and you are connected with the advisor throughout. And that's what Jamie's office does really great. Any kind of combinations you feel like doing, what's possible, because once you come here, you see the whole horde of courses that we have. You do want to combine different things at different times, It's like, so your advisor is always there to help you understand how that will impact your total graduation, how you can do it, what you need. So it's not like you're left on your own to figure this out, and it's not that easy also to figure out, honestly. So yes, your advisors are always there, and like I said, Jamie's office is awesome in doing this.
Thank you, Shiri.
Absolutely, these are quite some helpful points. The next question is, do you offer credits for IB students for higher or standard level?
So unfortunately at this time, we do not offer college credit for IB's classes. So I can't give any more information on that, but it is something that's in discussion. Unfortunately, just not at this time.
Thanks. The next question is it possible to add scholarships to the forward scholarship? But I think
So
it's
it is
written.
possible to double up on scholarships if there is a departmental scholarship or something like that that you wanted to add to the forward scholarship. We wouldn't restrict you from doing that. The important thing is to make sure that as an international student, you are eligible for additional scholarships. Many scholarships are dependent upon financial aid. Many students coming on an F1 visa are not going to be eligible for financial aid. And that's why we always bring up the forward scholarship, because it is not dependent on financial aid eligibility. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. But if you find a scholarship that works for you, you could definitely combine that with the forward scholarship.
Okay. There's this another question which is also about the scholarship. If the additional scholarship offered, if there is any additional scholarship, if the student's GPA is more than 3, or is it just the forward scholarship?
So it kind of is like what I just said. So the forward scholarship is particularly attractive for international students because it's not dependent upon financial aid eligibility. So there are other scholarships, and if you are a permanent resident or U.S. citizen, you can connect with me after this when we can talk. But the forward is the main one that we offer to our students coming to study on an F1 visa. That's not to say I don't want you to look for other scholarships, but as far as scholarships offered by Eastern, that's the one that we would recommend to our international students.
So once you get, once you've completed 2 years, you are not paying any tuition. I don't think any scholarship gets any better than that.
Yeah, it's essentially cutting the tuition rate in half, because your last 2 years, you won't have to worry about tuition at all. So it is a pretty nice scholarship, especially for our international students.
Absolutely. Okay. Uh, Moving forward to the next question, do you offer direct admission to your business school?
So you'll be applying through our general application, and then you would meet with an academic advisor to pick the program that you would like to enter into on the College of Business. So it's not like there's going to be additional admission requirements, but once you're admitted with the intent to go into an accounting program, for example, and then you'll work with an advisor to confirm your degree program once you arrive to campus.
So if I may add a little more to this, I think what I'm understanding is, like, do you get an assurance? Because you all are either 11th graders or 12th graders. So I know that you're not going to be a case of transfer, because one of the things is, okay, you've done some college in India and then you want to transfer some of the courses here and come directly to business school. That is possible, but I don't think that's what you're asking, because of like mostly 11th or 12th graders. We do not give you 100% assurance here. The main requirement, and Jamie, correct me here if I'm wrong, the main requirement is to keep up your GPA at 2 point, what is that, Jamie, 9 or 5?
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5. So if in the first year you keep your GPA at 2.5, nothing stops you from coming to the business school.
Right. I'm sorry if that was confusing. Yeah, once you're admitted, you're going to be able to enter into the business school. It's just we want you to be able to connect with an advisor to confirm your program, make sure you're on the right track. So once you're admitted, there's nothing stopping you, like Shiri mentioned, to enter into the business school. We just want you to be able to discuss your goals with your advisor and make sure you can start the correct program.
So that's part of the process, and it doesn't affect the outcome so much. It just helps you in the process and easing the process as to how you move from the gen ed courses, we call them gen ed, which is general education courses, to business courses.
Great. Okay. Thank you. I think this is quite an insightful answer. Moving forward to the next question, how does EMU brings business experience into the classroom?
You want me to take it, Jamie?
Yeah, Dr. Vivek, do you mind?
Okay. So yeah, I've already talked about how each class is going to have some practical projects coming from the industry. To give you a very specific example, sometimes we bring an ongoing problem which a company around here has and bring it in the class. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is a lot of executives and guest lecturers coming in. There is some courses wherein an executive is connected to the course throughout the semester. So you can actually just go to that executive whenever you have questions, and the executive just adds into the class whenever, as the class goes. That's another thing. A lot of students do internships here. There is paid internships, there's unpaid internships. I am not aware what are the legal requirements for paid internships or not, but you can do some internships here. You can also do voluntary experiences with businesses here. So we do have a division which actually helps you find some of this. We also have a small business program which actually, connects businesses with the courses here. So we are an application oriented school, and that's a great focus that we have. We just do it in many, many different ways. In some of the programs, and I know it's in the graduate program, but I don't know if it's in the undergraduate program also, your capstone course actually is going and working in the company. So I don't know if it's in the undergraduate program, but in graduate program, yes, I know that one of the graduate programs has that. So there is, like I said, it depends on which discipline you're choosing. If you're doing accounting, well, you will actually have to go and work with the companies. An internship is required in accounting. If you're doing supply chain, every course that you do has every subject, as we said, you do has some kind of practical experience requirement. The requirement sometimes is met by bringing executives in there, or bringing a business problem in there, and sometimes you just go find smaller projects that are dotted throughout your course. So yes, so many different ways that we bring in the business into the class.
I just add quickly, because you mentioned the immigration stuff. So for students looking to do internships, after your first year on campus, you're eligible for what we call curricular practical training, or CPT, as an F1 student in the United States. And you can work off campus as long as it's related to your field of study. So it'll have to be related to one of the courses you're taking during the semester. And that's something you would work with our Office for International Students and Scholars to get approved. And just a side note about employment, you can work on campus during your first year, but then that CPT would come into play during your second, third, and fourth year, where you can continuously get internships as long as it's related to your field of study.
Thank you. I think the next few questions are, you have already addressed while answering some of the questions, like if internships are a part of the business program, or can I do a BBA and then an MBA? But is there anything else you would like to add or elaborate on this?
So just the BBA, MBA part, and Jamie, I know you know more about it, but I just want to take it.
Sure.
You can move on, and a lot of times the students actually do some extra courses in a semester so that they can get the credit in MBA, in the master's program. And here there is an in-between program too, which you probably would not know about. Another difference from other countries, there is a certificate program. So if you are not sure whether you want to do MBA or not, you go into the certificate program, which is kind of a bridge between undergrad and grad programs, the undergraduate and the graduate programs. And the certificate program is, you can complete it in 1 year. And then if you feel like, oh no, I want to finish my MBA, you just go and add more courses to convert it into an MBA. Am I right, Jamie?
No, you've answered at least the curriculum part correctly. Our online application is very similar for graduate students. There's just several other application requirements. Usually, I'm not sure specifically for the MBA program, but usually it's like a personal statement or a resume or something like that. So there may be a few additional requirements that you would required to submit, but it's a pretty simple process, especially if you're looking to continue from a BBA program right into the MBA program at Eastern. We help throughout the entire process, and it shouldn't be a very painful transition.
So you're saying, yes, you can move from BBA to MBA. There are just some additional steps in the process to get that admission, right? And
right, to be fully admitted, we would just need a few other documents and the online application again. But like I said, the online application doesn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes, and it's just a matter of sending me those documents and making sure they're uploaded. But especially if you're already familiar with the professors in the College of Business, it shouldn't be a very long process for you.
Sure. Next question is, may I know where the economic school is located? It's a part of.
It is in College of Arts and Sciences. It's on the same campus. So we are a large campus, and all of this is within that same campus. So you would be about like, what, maybe 500 meters, Jamie?
Right, it's not very
Yes,
far at all.
Okay. And moving forward, what is the acceptance rate for the university?
I don't know that information offhand. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But as long as you meet the admissions requirement, we really don't have like competitive admission process. So we do it on a rolling basis, and we are always looking to gain more students. Accessibility is one of the things we like to focus on at Eastern. So it's not a competitive process where if someone gets in their application materials a week before you, they may be admitted and you might not be. It's more based on whether you meet the requirements and you're eligible for admission.
And I do want to add here that because the admissions are on a rolling basis, which means all the year through, you can send in an application for admission, and you can take admission either in the winter semester, which starts in January, or in the fall semester, which starts in September. And that's why we don't have like something like the acceptance rate as we have, again, in other places.
Real quick, Bhumi, I'm going to go back to the question about IB credits. I apologize, Joe messaged me. We do accept IB credit for specific classes, and it depends on what score you've gotten. And that IB course, there is a link to those courses on our catalog, which I'm not sure if I can connect with Jen next and get that out to you.
Sure,
but the person who is interested in that, I can provide that information as well.
Love to do that. Since I think the student was an anonymous attendee, I would also request the student to drop us an email so that we can connect further and share the information.
So I'll just add one more thing to that. There is in IB, there is one other requirement, which is the foreign experience, the study abroad experience, as we call it. And for international students, a lot of times, if they have shown that they've had some kind of a work experience or some kind of internship experience in their country, and if they can pass some of the language tests, and let me tell you, a lot of students failed the Hindi test here. So they had to do the foreign language thing again. So yes, there is some transfers happen. I know more about study abroad and foreign language, and a lot of times students just get waivers because they can prove that they've had that experience in the past.
Thank you for coming back to that, Jimmy, and again elaborating. I think this question we have from maybe 4 students in like different way, but I would just like to sum it up. They have all asked what is the minimum percentage for CBSE board that you require.
Okay, I had to refresh my memory. Let me look. CBSE, I believe we take 60 or above on the CBSE scale as the equivalent of an A in the United States. I would have to pull it up. Don't quote me on that, but I know that your CBSE scale is very competitive and you're looking to get 90, 95 all the time in these courses. But trust me, if you're doing better than a 60 or above on these courses, you'll be able to gain admission, especially here at Eastern Michigan University.
I think that helps.
Okay.
Thanks, Jen. The next question is, can I combine business and engineering and do a double major degree program?
I'm sorry, so they're talking about combining business and engineering,
And engineering, yes.
as both majors?
If the student can combine business and engineering and have a double major.
So I believe it would be possible. It's something that you would want to work out with your academic advisor upon arrival to Eastern Michigan University. Combining both as a major, you would have a lot of work to do with both of those demanding courses. So it would be something that I would definitely recommend discussing before jumping in with both feet on both programs. But definitely it would be something you could combine, maybe a technology or engineering minor or vice versa, and it might be a little bit easier of a workload, but it is possible for you to combine programs from each of those colleges.
There is another specific program we have, which I know of, and I know there are a few others, but there's one program we have which is called Engineering Management, which is not at College of Business, but it's in College of Technology. And the engineering management program is for students who have done business, but now they want to get an idea of engineering, or have done engineering and now they want to get some idea of business and combine it in a certain context. So yes, we do have those kind of programs. Doing two majors, you know, that's my academic perspective of it. You're talking about working for 8 straight years in undergrad. I don't know. It is possible, I know, but would you like to do it or not is a question that you might want to think of. But yes, as a graduate student, after you finished your undergrad in one of these areas, you can, as a graduate student, you can have a master's program, which would be combining the knowledge in one and the other.
Interesting. The next question is, if a student does not have math in grade 11 and 12 and has not taken SET, can he or she still apply for accounting or finance? So what I think the student wants to know, if mathematics is compulsory to have in grade 11 or 12 for accounting and finance.
I'm sorry, so they're asking about their courses in 11th and 12th grade?
Right. Is it mandatory to have maths for accounting or finance major?
So I guess, Dr. Vivek, do you have a recommendation for that? Whether they're taking the accounting and finance in their 11th and 12th grade year and how that would affect their success?
So yeah, do you mind just repeating
Sure.
the question one more time?
Yeah, so the student wants to know, if is it compulsory to have mathematics in grade 11th and 12th, because you know, like most of the students have especially in CPC, they choose a stream where they can take either biology or mathematics or maybe both.
Yes.
If they are opting out of mathematics in grade 11, what are the other options, or are they still eligible for accounting and finance majors?
Yes. Yes, they are. And I know, again, I mean, I'm not in the Office of Admissions, or I'm not an advisor, but I know this because my daughter did not have math at school level, but she did do accounting and finance. And that's just by that example, I know that it's possible and you can do it. And she didn't have to do anything special. So.
Yeah, so just to clarify as well, we're going to take the cumulative GPA from all 3 years, from 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. So it's not that we're going to consider just 1 year and the marks from 1 year. So if 1 year you have a little bit lower marks and 1 year you have higher marks, we're going to look at that as a whole. So we're not just focused on one bad mark or anything like that, or 1 year without math, like Dr. Vivek mentioned. So I wouldn't worry too much about the different streams that you guys are in India, because we'll still admit you to a business program even if you're in a science stream or something like that.
So yeah, in short, it does not matter what you've done at school level, you still have the admission open. You still have the option of picking any of the majors.
It should be quite helpful to know for this. Thanks. The next question is, are there any scholarships to cover the living expenses?
The living expenses. So not that Eastern Michigan offers specifically. Like I mentioned before, that forward is the most attractive for our international students. And it is possible for you, like I said, to combine scholarships with other ones that you find from outside of the university that are offered maybe by a department or an outside organization. So not that I can offer that are offered by Eastern Michigan University, specifically for those housing fees.
Okay, thank you. The next is, will there be a webinar for graduate course? If not, is there an email through which we can contact someone? I can answer this question. These are specifically for undergrad programs, but you can connect with us and drop us an email to know more about graduate programs and the series of webinars that we plan with our graduate team. But if you have, share me any information for graduate programs at Eastern Michigan, please feel free to share.
Sure. So we have a long list of graduate programs available as well. Like we talked earlier, just a little bit about the MBA. They have several other admissions requirements, and the admissions decision is made by each graduate department. So usually for undergraduate students, that's all going to be processed by specifically the International Admissions Office. But for graduate students, we work closely with the graduate departments to admit grad students. So each of the programs have a little bit different admission requirement, and I would recommend checking out the website for each of those requirements. We have links to each of the programs, and the advisors there would have more specific information about what you need to get admitted to those. But I can help at least get started on those if you guys want to reach out to me directly if you have a specific program in mind already. But usually it's just a couple additional requirements on top of the ones that I had already mentioned for the undergraduate application.
Okay. The next is, what are the other extracurricular activities at the university?
So
if you have any varsities and sports.
What did you say? I'm sorry, Bhumi.
The student wants to know more about the sports activities at the university.
Yeah, you name it. We have, there is a very, very huge collection of extracurricular activities that you have here. There are groups who are focused on different activities. There are music groups, there are dance groups, there are sports groups. We talk about the kind of sports group. And the biggest thing is that you can actually, if you want to start a group, you get some financial support to start the group in the university, at the university level. So you can even, like, if you find 5 people who like, say, table tennis, and you want to start a table tennis group. I think we have a table tennis group, but I'm just giving that as an example. You get some support to do that. Lots of activities.
Okay.
Sorry, Jamie, I jumped on this question. Because
No, that's fine. It's a great answer.
Thanks. So the next is, do you consider virtual internship?
I'm not sure. So are they asking if it would be an opportunity for them?
So I think what the student means is, and if the student can correct and repost the answer question again, but maybe the student wants to know if the virtual internships can be considered if the student has done it during the program or even before the program.
So I guess if they're asking from the admissions standpoint, if we would consider a virtual internship, any documentation or materials that they provide to support their application will be considered when we review the application. So I wouldn't be worried about it being in a virtual nature versus an in-person nature, especially if it's something they've already experienced. As far as opportunities here, though, I'm not too sure about virtual internships within the COB.
So as long as they're able to provide the documentation, I think it should be considered.
Sure, if they've already completed that, we would consider it, but past work experience is not necessarily required for admission. But if they wanted to provide additional documentation, we would take a look at it as well.
Definitely. I think the context here is that like many of our students go through internships before applying to the colleges, and if they have done any virtual internships, we know some of our students have done, if at all they will be considered, and if there is anything extra that the university would need.
No, as long as they could provide, like I said, some sort of documentation, we would take that into consideration for their application. And stuff like that, that definitely would be helpful once they arrive to campus to work with an advisor or our career advising center to maybe build up a resume to include that for their future as well. So there are resources to utilize that after they've arrived as well.
Awesome. I think we have a few more questions now. We are past over an hour, but just a few questions. What are the minimum grade combination for Cambridge A levels that you require?
I'm sorry, so the minimum requirement
for Cambridge A levels for admission.
In grade 11, they asked?
Grade A level, Cambridge A levels, what you require the student to have, like the minimum score requirements for Cambridge A levels, the grade combination.
Oh, for Cambridge. Okay, so I, again, don't have the scale in front of me right now. But like I said, we would need whatever is equivalent to a 2.75 GPA on the 4-point scale. If I'm remembering correctly in the Cambridge scale, it would be like a CB or C or better. But specific questions like that, I could definitely answer one-on-one with the student. If like I said, I'm sorry, I just don't have the scale in front of me right now.
Okay. So the next question is, can a student get 2 scholarships and still get financial aid?
So that's a challenging question because I would specifically need to know the student's status. So our F1 students would not be eligible for financial aid. So if the student was maybe a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, I could chat with them more about those opportunities. But I think because most of these are international students, it wouldn't be helpful to go into too much detail. But like I mentioned earlier, it is possible to combine scholarships. But as far as financial aid, there's very specific requirements, and F1 students, unfortunately, are not eligible for financial aid.
I think this is again a subjective question that we can talk to the student one-on-one.
Sure.
Yeah. Do we get extra support from the professors after the classes if we need so?
Yes. Jamie, do I take this?
Yeah, I think as a professor, you can provide more than me.
So every professor has pre-stated, officially announced office hours, and you can walk into their office during those office hours. We at least have like 5 hours open, 4 hours or 5 hours open every single week, wherein we are in the office available for you to meet. Well, not right now, but this is the time wherein, you know, professors are figuring out their own time with the students because, and we meet virtually with the students, we make Zoom calls or things like that. But otherwise, in normal times, faculty has pre-stated office hours every semester, and you can walk into their office and have any amount of discussions that you want. Pretty unlike India again, it's not like you'll have to wait outside or something. Just figure out a time, know their office hours, walk into their office, and they're there.
That's a blessing and flexibility that we have. Thank you, Dr. Vivek. And I think just a few questions now more. The student wants to ask if instead of showing maths mark sheet, can we show our math proficiency with pseudoricity? I think you already answered this when we talked about if pseudoricity is required and if at all maths is required or not. But you want to come back to this and answer the student again?
So we had discussed how if you're in a particular stream or if you don't have math for your 11th grade or 12th grade, how you're still eligible for admission to the College of Business or any particular program. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're in maybe the science stream, you could still enter into a business program once you arrive to the United States. So we're not particularly worried about the classes. We're looking at like the big picture, the cumulative grade average for all 3 or 4 years of the transcripts that we have.
Thank you. The next is, will this presentation be shared with the participants? I think I can answer this. So you can see we have recorded this session and we will be sharing this recording and information with all the students who have registered and participated for the webinar. So if you still have any further questions, you can definitely email that to us, and if you want, you can still post it in the Q&A box that is right there in the bottom of the screen. So this one question from a student. I think this should be the last question from our session. Okay. So I don't require to attach my 9th or 10th, 11th mark sheet and just attach the other math exam marks which I've done well.
So no, we want your mark sheets
okay.
from
I think
all.
the student you'd need the mark sheets from 9th, 10th, and 11th, and I believe the pre-board results as well from 12th.
Correct. So we would be able to make a decision before the final marks come out for grade 12. So we can make an admissions decision based on 9th, 10th, and 11th grade mark sheets. We would want that 12th grade eventually before the end of the first semester here at Eastern, but the student would be able to be admitted based on those first 3 years and their grades received.
Sure. Just one last question. The questions are pouring. When must the 12th graders start to apply?
Let's see. So during the 12th year, so let's see if a student is at the end of their 11th grade, the application for the following fall will be open anytime. They can apply for fall of 2021 now, but we recommend that they apply anytime between, let's say, September and then like January. But as I think we already mentioned that we do admissions on a rolling basis. So if someone right now, and it's the end of April, so the student could still apply for this upcoming fall 2020 semester because we do it on a rolling basis. So the application would still be reviewed if someone who is in grade 12 now is looking to come to the US this upcoming August, September. So really we recommend doing it sooner rather than later in that fall of the 12th grade year to make sure that we have everything we need, and the student has enough time to get their visa, the I-20, and then go for their visa appointment and then arrive to the US. But like I said, even if someone was still interested as of today, they could submit an application for the fall 2020 semester starting in August.
Awesome. So I think this also answers the question that one of the students asked if they can apply when they're in 11th or like they're going to start their 12th. So they're of course going to apply a year prior, like most probably in October, November. So that answers this question as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think we have answered all the questions. Some of the questions were repetitive and we've covered all of them. So again, thank you, Jemmy and Dr. Vivek. It has been a very insightful and helpful sessions for our students. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We look forward to connect with you again. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
And thank you all the students. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you for attending. So this is the